Why don't we get started? We're seeing the chairman's going to come up here, but at least, why don't you want to start?
Yeah, well, you're kind of leader of the pack here.
So, why don't you just do a little statement, and then we can just take it from there and talk and give you a statement. And just...
Well, obviously it was a phenomenal turnout today by the Menominee folks. Today, standing with them, they're like family to me. This has been 18 months in the process and a decade in the making. To see this project not happen in Kenosha County is very frustrating. A number of my constituents who have reached out to me in the last few weeks here have been very disappointed in the governor's decision, and so that's why today I stood with the Menominee people to share their thoughts, their concerns, and really try to get the governor to change his mind this one last time. It's really been just really challenging on me personally, and so that's why I was here today.
Well, I just have to say this has been like one of the most bipartisan efforts that certainly I've witnessed in my short 2 years here. But from beginning to end, we've had the southeastern Wisconsin delegation, both sides of the aisle, strongly supporting this project because this is such a great project, and it's really unimaginable that it may not actually happen. I think I voted for this project the first time when I was on the executive board of UAW Local 72 in Kenosha to recommend to the membership that we go on record supporting this project. I think that was 17 or 18 years ago. And I voted for it, and then I voted for it as a member of Local 72 as well, and I voted in two referendums. And here we are, where the people in southeastern Wisconsin and in polling throughout all of Wisconsin really clearly support this project. It is unfathomable that a nearly $1 billion economic project like this will not happen simply, in my opinion, clearly because of presidential aspirations. I think that the governor needs to set those aside and do what's best for the state of Wisconsin, which is clearly to sit down with the chairman of the Menominee Nation and to try to hammer out a deal. And in terms of what Peter was saying earlier, that this is when deals get done, is at the last minute. In my tenure on the executive board of Local 72, a lot of negotiations, we didn't start really talking seriously about issues until the last 24, 48 hours before a deadline. This is when negotiations should really be taking place. And if the governor was serious about wanting a win-win deal, as he has said that he is, those negotiations would be taking place today.
Well, I'll just say, to me, this was, as our mayor said about a week ago, it is a failure of leadership. When you want a win-win, it is incumbent upon the leader to try and do everything possible to attain that win-win. And the governor clearly has not done that. The governor sent his emissaries to meet, and that's good. But what we really needed was the governor himself to interject himself. And what I asked him today to do was to make your final and best offer. Put an offer on the table and say, the only way this can happen is I need this package to contain these 4 ingredients, these 5 ingredients. I said, and then it's on them to come up and say they can do it or they can't do it. And that's how you get to a final conclusion. As Representative Ohnstad just said, and it's true. I mean, you pass budgets sometimes in the 11th hour. Sometimes that's why you stay up all night to try and get to a final deal, to kind of force people's hands. When I ran a company, some of our best contracts were when we went a couple hours past the deadline and mutual agreement, and you came out with a contract that people could live by. That's just the way the world works. And to get to a win-win, to succeed, you have to be willing to put in every ounce of energy and to take it to that 11th hour. And I think, as Representative Kerkman said in her remarks, the leaders of the Menominee Nation have done everything that's been asked of them. And they've put together, I think, a tremendous offer. It's just inconceivable that any other governor in the nation would ever turn down 2 magnificent entertainment venues that didn't involve a dime of taxpayer money. It's just inconceivable to me. And, I think that if presidential politics weren't involved, I actually think that we'd be celebrating and popping champagne corks today. instead of lamenting the governor's failure to meet and failure to interject himself in this 11th hour to get a deal. So
I do want to add one more thing. Last week we had a press conference with Jim Allen from the CEO of Hard Rock, and really Senator Van Wongard and I sat down at the table and had a conversation with him about what Hard Rock was willing to offer. And last week it would have been nice, even though it wasn't the 11th hour, it would have been nice for the governor to sit down. Now we are in the 11th hour, and I know that Jim, he offered up to come out to Wisconsin at any time to meet with the governor. So, those relationships with Hard Rock are still strong, and they still really like Wisconsin. And so, again, it's just one of those things that I wanted to add.
I'd like to just add one other thing that hasn't been mentioned today, and that not getting a deal is really a lose-lose, not only for the Menominee, but also for the Potawatomi, because we have no doubt that there will be a casino just on the other side of the border, where all the studies show that 80% of the money that was going to be spent in the Kenosha casino, it'll now be spent in an Illinois casino. And certainly the Potawatomi will have no protection when the casino lands in either Waukegan or in Zion, and we have no doubt that it will land there. So Kenosha will lose out not only on a lot of the jobs that will no longer go to people from southeastern Wisconsin, all of the money that would go to Kenosha County, to Kenosha City, has been negotiated for any number of different local charities. This is a total lose-lose, not only for the Menominee, but ultimately for the Potawatomi as well.
any questions?
Peter, you mentioned you had met with Governor Walker this morning. Would he express a metric? Is there any benchmark that the Menominee could clear to change his mind?
Well, he mentioned two things. He said that, which were covered to some degree in the letter. He said that he didn't believe that the money that was going for the Bucks Arena would be new money, be money the states would have attained anyway. And then he also mentioned the fact that he thought the losses could exceed the $250 million put forward by the bond. And my plea to him is, I said, well, then put forward your best last offer. Tell him you need a $500 million bond. Tell him you need to make sure that every dime that was going to the Bucks Arena is over and above what their payments are to the state. And I said, then it's on them, not on you, that you at least made an offer to them. As it stands now, it's like you're just criticizing their last offer without doing what you claimed you want to do, which is to obtain a win-win. So that's all that was left.
Peter, Secretary Hitch said on a week ago, Tuesday, I believe, said he didn't feel like the newest offer from the Menominee was a sincere offer, seemed to reflect the views of the governor. Do you, sir, feel like this is a sincere offer and an offer that they can financially back?
Well, I think we all feel it's sincere. They have Merrill Lynch and Bank of America, two of the strongest financial institutions in the country. They're going to, put forward the bond. And then secondly, as the CEO, Jim Allen, said of the Hard Rock, he was very articulate last week. And let's not forget, he runs the equivalent of a Fortune 300 company. They know what they're doing. They're successful in virtually every place they've ever located. And he said the reason why they can afford this is that other states drive a harder bargain. He said in Indiana, you pay 40%. Massachusetts, up to 60% of your revenue. Here, it's like 20% or less. And he said, so he felt completely certain they could meet the obligations. And he wouldn't be the CEO of a company that large and successful if he didn't understand what the revenue forecasts were for his company and understand what their capacity was as a corporation.
I'd like to just add one thing to that point. And to say that this offer is disingenuous and comes so late, that's completely not true based upon Jim Allen's statement at the last press conference. He said that as early as last October, the first round of negotiation, one of the first offers was actually to give a percentage of the take, an additional percentage of the take for a particular project, and the Bucks was actually mentioned, and that was for somewhere in the neighborhood of $100 million. So now recently they upped the ante. So for the governor's office to say that this is disingenuous, coming at the last moment, that's simply not true.
And he acknowledged that they had put forward that offer earlier. He just said that he thought it was different money. And I actually agree with his point in his letter, the point that he probably would not have the authority to create, The power to create an authority is separate from the legislature. But this latest offer is entirely different. They're offering to pay, to basically donate for a specific venue. That doesn't involve the legislature or the BIA, we don't believe, for that matter.
Early on in the negotiations, we also had offered to increase our revenue share to have the funding that goes towards the arena credited back to us. So we had in several different venues offered the arena, and one of those in the October 30th compact amendment offer, the governor pulled it up, and lo and behold, there it was. It exactly was there. But we were asked to remove it. So that's why it never went any further. It wasn't, they didn't vet it, it was remove it. So we removed it. They wouldn't accept it. So we had asked if the other approach of revenue, increasing the amount of revenue and letting that serve as credits towards our overall payments, if we could do that, and neither was accepted. So it's not new, and we indeed had tried to pull that forward. We were told no.
Sam, how much damage do you think this has done with Walker's relationship with Republican legislators in the southeast part of the state? It's made it very challenging. I will say that. I'm probably the one who feels it the most, but I know that some of my other colleagues from Racine County feel similar to me. So, I haven't personally met with him like Representative Barca has. I had a phone conversation with him about a week and a half ago. So that's been challenging. When I saw him in Kenosha yesterday, I didn't really even get to say hi. So, and again, I don't want to downplay that. That was a company that is moving here. It's 65 jobs. That's, again, adding to our economy. But this would have added, upwards of 3,000 jobs to Kenosha County and 10,000 jobs to the state of Wisconsin and $1.6 billion of economic impact to our state.
Did you have any second thoughts or reservations about addressing a Capitol rally as a Republican lawmaker?
It was one of those decisions, but, along the way, as I said, during the rally, I have really become part of their family and have felt this process, especially the last 18 months with Chairman Boveen and now Chairman Desaw, Chairman Corn previously, and have really been leaders that I've come to know and appreciate. And this past summer, I spent some time up in the reservation. I spent a day up there, which really was a wonderful experience. Learning about what they need and their needs of the tribe, be it education, health care, and transportation, needs that the tribe needs. So again, that's why I fought so hard, not only for my district, but for their district and the reservation.
Chairman, thoughts on the turnout in the rally today?
It was great. My heart felt so strong. This shows, while the money and the health concerns may be there, this shows that our people still have strong hearts, that the person standing next to them still matters. And I wish all communities could feel that strength like I did today.
The one thing I'd like to say is this past weekend I was at an event, actually in Representative August's district. It's in the town of Wheatland, which I don't represent in Kenosha County. There were 200 people there. And it was a game night for my church. And I probably got asked 25 times at that night, why did the governor make the decision and those kinds of things. So this is something that I hear about all the time. For the last 3 weeks I've heard about this. So that's why I'm here and have been working with them and wanted to spend the day with them.
Coffee. You can't go to a grocery store, you can't go to the pharmacy without being stopped, 10 times between yourself and the cash register. This is on everybody's mind, and Democrat or Republican. In fact, frankly, I've been surprised. The people have been a little bit more vitriolic on this have been the Republicans because they really feel let down by the governor. They feel like, look, we supported him 3 times in the last 4 years. This is when we really need a governor to show some leadership and to get a win-win, and they see the economic benefit. They're just astounded that he doesn't. And so it's on everybody's mind. I think I'm sure he's glad he's not running for re-election this month.
I mean, this will take us some time, or me some time to recover, but I will continue to work with my partners here, on other, job opportunities for the area. And that, this has made us more of a family, and we'll just include the nominees with us.
Thank you. Remember, this was not to vilify the governor. This was to exemplify just through the march just how deeply we feel for this. And it wouldn't be right with such a positive potential impact to the whole state if we did not turn over every leaf and stone to try everything we could up until the very last second. Then shame on us.
It startles me that when you have a group of people that will walk 155 miles, the governor will walk 155 steps to just sit down and to give them that respect and at least address their leadership and explain where this falls short. And ideally put forward what would fall within the strike zone that he would accept it. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks again.